Hi class, it is Tuesday and we are continuing our journey with division. We are dividing four-digit dividends today by one-digit divisors. Here is our learning target. I am learning how to use strategies and algorithms, including the standard algorithm, to divide up to a four-digit dividend by a one-digit divisor. We finally made it to four-digit dividends. Our language objective is I can choose a strategy to represent a division problem and justify my thinking. And we have sentence stems that we could use. The first step in dividing is, next, then, finally. So let's get started. Today, like yesterday, I want to try a couple problems before we watch the video. And at the top, I would want to write this in my notebook. I'm using Seesaw because that way you can see it really well. But I would copy these problems into my notebook, and that way you have examples that you can look back at if you get stuck on a problem that you're doing later. So I wrote down the steps: divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, repeat. Now it's possible that we'll be repeating this 4 times because we have a 4-digit dividend today. So let's take a look at our first problem. 4 divides into 3,612. I like to write my multiples right away because it helps me wrap my brain around the division. So I'm going to count by fours: 4, 8, 12. It also helps you practice your multiplication: 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, and 36. You do not have to go further than the nines, so I'm stopping at 36. And the reason for that is standard algorithm is based on place value. So we're doing one place value at a time, and we're going to start with the thousands place value in this case because that's where our number starts. So how many 4s are in 3? Well, 0. 3 is not big enough. So I'm going to put a 0 up here, and then 4 times 0 is 0. So I subtract minus 0. Now, eventually, you might feel comfortable skipping this step, but for now, I'm showing you this step so that you can see the why behind it. So I've made it divide, multiply, subtract, and now it's time to bring down my next place value, which is my hundreds. So I have 36 hundreds left. So how many 4s are in 36? So when I come over to my multiple list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 4s in 36, and so I write that in my quotient spot. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 minus 36 is 0. So I have just done divide, multiply, subtract. Now I'm at bring down. And so far I've done 2 layers. So now it's time for me to bring down my tens. So I have 110 left. 4 into 1 is 0. There's not enough to get 1 4 out of that. So then I would say 0 times 4 is 0. I write that down and I subtract. My final step, bring down the 2. One more time, I've got to repeat. Divide. How many 4s are in 12? I count. 1, 2, 3. 3 4s in 12. 3 times 4 is 12. I write it down, and I subtract one final time. And I am lucky. I have 0, so I have 0 remainder. Let's try one more problem. This problem will have a remainder, and I can tell that because I know my multiples of 6. I'm going to write those down. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, and 54. Now, I have not one single 5 in my ones when I wrote these down, so I know I'm going to have a remainder because this number ends in a 5. So let's get started. How many 6's are in 8? That's our first step, divide. 1 6 in 8. So I write my 1 down, I multiply. 1 times 6 is 6, and I subtract. I get 2. I'm right here on my steps. I bring down the 4. I like to draw an arrow. You don't have to draw an arrow. I do it just to help me remember. How many 6's are in 24? Remember, I repeat the division. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 6's in 24. 4 times 6 is 24. And I subtract. 4 minus 4 is 0. 2 minus 2 is 0. Next step, bring down. I bring down my 6. How many 6's are in 6? 1. 1 6. So 1 times 6 is 6. I subtract. And I get 0. Last step, last cycle, repeat. I've got to bring down my 5. And now I'm ready to finish this problem. How many 6's are in 5? 0. 0 6's. I need one more to make a full 6. So I'm going to minus 0, and I get a remainder of 5. So my remainder is 5. Now I ask myself, is 5 less than 6? Because my remainder has to be smaller than my divisor, and it is. So that's a good sign. I can also check my work by multiplying. 141 times 6, and then plus my remainder. That should give me my dividend. Okay, guys, it is now time for us to watch our video. Hopefully this helped, seeing some problems solved ahead of time. Remember, you can refer back to these problems at any time to help you solve other problems. Let's look at this video.
You can estimate to help you find the quotient. How can you estimate larger quotients? In all, 4,729 hot dogs were sold at a football game. If hot dogs come 8 in a package, how many packages of hot dogs were sold? Why is this a division situation?
Well, we have a total, and we have making the total into equal parts. Total equal parts equals division.
The problem asks how many packages of 8 are in 4,729, and this can be modeled with division. There is more than one way to represent this problem. Write an equation. 4,729 divided by 8 equals. Draw a strip diagram. Decide where to start to make an estimate. 500 times 8 equals 4,000. Is that a good estimate?
Well, it's a pretty good estimate.
Yes, but you know the answer will be more than 500 because 4,000 is less than 4,729. 600 times 8 is 4,800, which is greater than the number of hot dogs sold. So the answer will be less than 600. But the estimate using 600 is closer than the estimate using 500. The answer will be close to 600. Start dividing in the hundreds. 4,700 divided by 8 is about 5 hundredths. 8 times 5 equals 40. 72 tens divided by 8 is 9 tens. 8 times 9 equals 72. 9 ones divided by 8 is about 1 1. 8 times 1 equals 8. 591 complete packages were sold, and one hot dog from another package was sold.
So that's what the reason I solved a couple problems before we watched the video is just to show you the steps in a more slow way so that you have something to look back at. Remember, you can make a list of the multiples to help guide you, and then you can also write down the steps like divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, repeat to help you remember the steps because it's quite a few steps when you think about it. It's like each section has like four steps, and if you have one, two, three sections, you're looking at 12 steps. I guess that's why they call this long division. Well, look at you survived long division. Now it's time to try some problems. Good luck, young mathematicians, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.